going to import a file. You could just open a file, but it will not allow me to record the screen anymore if I do that. So we're just doing it this way. Okay, so I've just imported a file into Inkscape, and you can see here that my canvas is this square here. This little square is my my scale. This is an inch scale, and this is just an example file. And I'm just going to hit the number 4 on my keypad, and that shows you the selected item, which happens to be the imported file. And you can see I can change my canvas by going to Document Properties. I'm going to change my display units to inches, and I'm going to come down here to the Resize Page to Content. I'm going to add 25-inch margins all the way around. And change that to inches and hit that and close. Now you can see that you don't see the little canvas back there. If I hit the number, actually, you know what I'll do is I'll just zoom out this way. And you will see that I now have a canvas the size of this skirt with 25 inches all around, which is great. However, say for instance, I want to cut as many skirts as I can from a piece of fabric that happens to be 6 yards long. This rectangle will represent my fabric. Hang with me, you'll understand in a second. So 6 yards long, which in this case happens to be the width, is going to be 6 times 36 inches is 216 inches. And my width of fabric is 60 inches. I'm putting this in as the height because that's just the way I want to look at it. Divide by 2, enter. It just happens to be that this works for my cutting table. And so I can move that down here. You'll see that they're both in one layer. If I want to select the skirt, it can be tricky. See, I keep the fabrics on top. No problem. Just go back to your pointer. That's easier. But you see, I still can't select the skirt to move it around and duplicate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to call it fabric. Enter. And then I'm going to select that fabric, right-click, and move layer to fabric, move, and I'll lock that fabric layer. Now, doesn't matter where it is in the lineup, I can grab this easily enough, move it up here where I want it. I'm going to just pretend that this side is my fold, and I can just copy and paste, and click over here and Control V, and oh wait, I can't see where it's going anymore. So again, I'm going to hit the number 4. That'll show me the whole thing. If I want to zoom in and look very closely at where that is or something, I could select just that skirt, hit the number 3. I'm looking at just the skirt. I'm going to hit number 4, go back out, and it looks like I can probably right-click and paste one more. That's about what looks like it'll fit. Okay, so you can see that there's not for some reason this one's ungrouped, that line is separate. Just Control G, groups them together, move it up. Isn't that weird how this one didn't ungroup, but that one did. Move it up and move it up. So I can fit 4, and I could fit these closer together or move them however I wanted them, but 4 is the maximum I can fit on my piece. And so say I just wanted to do this. You can use your arrows on your keyboard to do finer adjustments as you go. So that's a nice feature. And we'll just do File. We'll Save As. We can just save it as an SVG because we really don't need a PDF again the way that I'm going to use this. I can use it as a PDF if I want, but I'm just going to replace it. I already have one called Skirt. So there we are. And now on my canvas, we can go back and do that again. It's a nice little reminder how to do it. Document Properties. My margins are still there. And hit Select. You just refresh it by doing Resize, which is the same as Control-Shift-R if you don't want to come back here, and you can remember that. And here we go. Let's go down and zoom out. You'll see that. So for ease of use, now I'm going to be turning on my projector to cut this. I'll shut these, and it just gives me a little more working space on my screen. I can use F. Okay, so I just imported this PDF file into Inkscape. I am going to, well, first of all, the canvas is way too small. But first we will just add a piece of fabric. So here what I have is a piece of fabric, and that's what this rectangle will represent. I'm going to start by changing my units to inches, and then I'm going to go back to my selector, and it shows that the current inches of this little rectangle, well, actually saying millimeters, so let's change that to inches as well here. I'm going to use the width as my length, which I have 6 yards times 36 inches is 216 inches. And my height I'm going to put as 60 inches, but I'm going to divide by 2 because I'm going to fold this in half for cutting. And then I'm going to place, okay, so now we have something interesting. I need to get my layers back. There we go. Okay, so we just click layer at the top and object, and I'll show them over here. So what I'm going to do to start, because as you can see, I can come down here right now, but once I move this up here, I can no longer select it. What I will do is I will come in here, add a layer. We're going to call it fabric. Oops, cancel that. Then we're going to select the fabric and right click and move layer to the fabric layer. Move. Then once that happens, lock that layer. Now I can't accidentally move it. I can hit the number 4 to see. Oh, okay, if I unlock that fabric layer and I select that, I can hit the number 4 to see the entire piece, and then I can lock it again. And then I can say, okay, this one's here. And you can see that little square right there, that's my 1-inch scale, just to check. And now you see that my canvas is tiny compared to how big my piece of fabric is. So we can change that. Go to File, Document Properties, and yes, we want 25-inch margins, and we need to change our units to inches. Also, we can change our grid units to inches while we're here. Resize the page, Control-Shift-R will do the same thing. And because that was selected, it did it for just that. But you can see that by unselecting that, it did it for the entire piece. If we come down here, this is your zoom. We can zoom out and see if the canvas is now big enough, and it has the 25-inch margins all the way around. I can, I've locked my fabric, so I can select my skirt and right-click, copy, paste, 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 and we're just going to move these up onto my fabric. You can see I can fit 4 of them on a 6-yard length. I could adjust them really close to each other. It's not exactly on the fold. You'll want to use your arrow keys to nudge it onto the fold. If I wanted a closer up view to see how close it was, I hit number 3 and I see just that selection. I hit number 4, I see the entire selection. So number 3 again, and I can use my arrows, as I said, to just put it right on fold. 4 to see the whole thing. Now, I can file, save as. We're going to save it as a skirt, save. We're just going to place it. I already had the original one as just skirt. I could save it as a PDF and open it in let's do that. Let's see, save as. We're going to save it as a PDF by coming here, hitting P twice, and it goes to PDF. And again, we're going to call it a skirt. It's going to save over another skirt file. That's fine with me. Change your name if you don't want to copy over something and that happens. And so now if I were to say, I'm going to push F11, that gets me in and out of full screen. Which is interesting. That's the difference. Hoping you can see it. Open with Adobe. So here we are in Adobe, and you can see that it's telling me here that I can't scroll over. I can't see that last one, which is fine. In this case, you're thinking, well, whatever, we'll just move things along, and it will be fine. However, it's annoying if these were all individual separate things, or if you had other miscellaneous pieces of, say, a dress in here, you would want to get down there and get to those pieces as well. And so close this, come back to here. Once you've hit F11, you got a full page, close out this gets it a little bit bigger. Hit F11 if you haven't already to more easily access your zoom bar down here. My zoom from my distance of my projector to my sewing table is about 25%. And you can see here, in order to use Inkscape as instead of selection tool, hit Control and your right button and it'll drag over. I'm going to see if I can change that so that I can move the entire page without having to use the keyboard. So you can see that on the fly, if I find out that I had something aligned a little bit funny, something was hitting something, I want to change something, I can do that on the fly, because once you have your PDF, you can't change anything in Adobe unless you have the paid for. So this you can change. If I had another piece of pattern here, we're just going to pretend, then you could take this triangle, say it was a piece of your pattern, and you wanted to pattern match. You can move it around, leaving your fabric right where it is on the table, and you've got your projector. Move this piece of pattern anywhere you would like to sit, just so. You can click it again and get the rotation tool there. If you've laid out your piece of fabric on the table and you turn on your projector and your projector is not sitting quite where you want it, or your table's not, however, for whatever reason, you can, besides using Control and the right to move this up, down, left, right, you can skew it with this rotation tool down here as much as you need. You can flip it all the way if you need. So you have a lot of options here that you don't have when you're using the free Adobe. And I hope that helps some of you, because it took me a while to figure this all out, and it took me longer to figure out how to record this for you.